Up to now in this course, we've been zoomed in looking at individual markets like the market for coffee or housing. But governments don't just care about one market, they care about the entire economy. Questions like, is the economy growing? Are people finding jobs? Are prices stable? These are the big picture questions of macroeconomics. In this lesson, we're going to explore the main goals governments try to achieve when managing the economy. So far, we've looked at how prices are determined, how firms behave, and when markets fail. But now we zoom out. Governments are concerned with the performance of the whole economy, not just individual markets. They care about things like economic growth, employment, price stability, and international trade. These goals are known as macroeconomic objectives. Think of them as targets policymakers are constantly trying to hit. The first major objective is economic growth. Economic growth means an increase in the economy's output over time. It is usually measured using real GDP. Why does growth matter? Because it raises living standards, creates jobs, increases tax revenue, and allows governments to invest in public services. But growth is not always perfect. It can also create problems like environmental damage, rising inequality, and resource depletion. So, an important question is, does all growth actually improve people's lives? The second objective is low unemployment. Unemployment occurs when people are willing and able to work but cannot find a job. Why is low unemployment important? Because jobs provide income, stability, and a sense of purpose. At a national level, low unemployment reduces poverty and inequality, maintains skills in the workforce, and reduces government spending on welfare. High unemployment, on the other hand, represents a huge waste of resources and creates serious social problems. The third objective is low and stable inflation. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level. In simple terms, it means prices are rising. Why is high or unstable inflation a problem? Because it reduces purchasing power, harms savings, creates uncertainty, and distorts investment decisions. If inflation is too high, people and businesses struggle to plan for the future. That's why most governments aim for low and predictable inflation, not zero inflation. The fourth objective is balance of payment stability. This refers to a country's economic transactions with the rest of the world, mainly exports and imports. If a country runs a persistent deficit, meaning it imports more than it exports, several problems can arise, such as it may need to borrow from abroad, confidence in the currency may be weakened, and the economy may become less stable. So governments aim to maintain a sustainable balance in trade to support long-term economic stability. Now here's where things get interesting. These objectives often conflict with each other. For example, faster economic growth can lead to higher inflation, reducing unemployment may push up wages and prices, and protecting the environment may slow down growth. So policymakers cannot maximize all objectives at the same time. Instead, they have to make trade-offs. This is one of the biggest challenges in macroeconomic policy. Now let's connect this to something we've already discussed, education. Investment in education can improve productivity, increase human capital, and support innovation. This contributes to long-term economic growth and employment. However, funding education requires government spending, which may involve higher taxes or trade-offs in other areas. So even beneficial policies come with costs and trade-offs. This again shows how interconnected macroeconomic objectives are. So, how do governments know if they're achieving these goals? They rely on key economic indicators such as GDP growth, unemployment rate, inflation rate, and trade balance. These statistics help policymakers evaluate the performance of the economy. In other words, data drives economic decision making. In the next lesson, we'll take a closer look at one of these indicators, GDP. We'll explore how it is measured and, more importantly, its limitations. Because as we'll see, GDP does not always tell the full story of economic well-being. Now let's finish with the key ideas. Governments aim to achieve economic growth, low unemployment, stable inflation, and a balanced external position. However, these objectives can often conflict, meaning policymakers must make trade offs. Policies like education investment can support long term growth, but they also come with costs. Understanding these macroeconomic objectives is essential for analysing how governments manage the economy. Thank you very much.